Hi, good morning. I'm a bit out of my comfort zone this morning. I have to resort to the other studio, but nevertheless, though, it's time for breakfast. The only show that is called the Breakfast Lunch, but we don't serve breakfast here. Okay. All right.
One day, hopefully.
Pleasant good morning, everybody. And this morning I'm joined by members of a new foundation. It's called Rise Foundation, and it's spearheaded by these three people joining me here. These three individuals, young people joining me here. This are you still young, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
Hope
forever
so,
young.
hopefully.
Yeah. Okay. You have to get closer to the mic, though. Okay. Yeah. You're on camera, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So okay. All right. So you'll have to share this with me later on, so I can put it
Sure.
up on my breakfast lounge too.
Okay.
Okay. This morning I'm joined here by ladies first, Shaira Bowers. Hi, Shaira. Good morning
Hello,
to you.
good morning.
Am I pronouncing that correct?
No.
I can hardly hear you in the mic.
My name is Shiaira.
Shaira.
Yes.
Shame on me. We're supposed to be related.
Well, yeah, we are. Mother told me this morning. She said
Yeah.
your grandparents are brothers and sisters.
Yeah, yeah. And then I'll call along with him is Josiah Lamont. Josiah, good morning to you too.
Good morning, Grace. How you doing?
I'm pretty good. And then spearheaded by Kevin James, that is.
Yes, not spearheaded. We're co-founders, but yes, this
Oh,
is Kevin James.
Okay, all right. Let's talk about Rise Foundation and the purpose of basically what is the purpose of this foundation and how did the idea come about? You guys have worked together before, is that correct?
Yeah, so essentially we're all passionate about community work. We've all volunteered together at some point in time. You know, we have some experience in project management, you know, organizing to help St. Maarten through some of our crises like the COVID-19, like Hurricane Irma, in our individual capacities. And we decided to come together and do our part, you
Okay.
know, to help St. Maarten rise.
All right. And how did you go about selecting your team basically? I mean, you've worked together before, so yeah, that was a no-brainer, right? Who wants to take the mic here?
Yeah, definitely. So, Shiaira and I, we've worked closely together for the past few years, and Kevin has been someone who's always been a person that we could call whenever, and he would be willing to give his assistance no matter how busy he was. And definitely he made his impact, so I believe it was a no-brainer, definitely picking him as a team member. And of course, one of our team members who's not here at the moment,
Okay.
she's someone who we've also worked with for a few years as well, being Priya Misir. So yeah, definitely, I think it was a no-brainer when we decided to come together and launch this foundation.
All right. Who came up with the name of the foundation? Who wants to go first? I know. I'm sorry we have to share a mic this morning. It's you can take it off the stand, okay? Just take it off the stand so it makes it
that's
easier for you to share it, okay? Sorry about that.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think all of us had
Thank you.
a brainstorming session. And again, Rise stands on its own of rising up after challenges and adversity, but it also stands for something. So it's also an acronym. So it stands for reaching out, inspiring change, supporting growth, and empowering communities. So it's a powerful name. We really love it. It stands for what we want, which is empower our community and really uplift each one individual at a time, youth, families, communities, and then yeah, let's build a better St. Maarten.
Right. Shara, you're no stranger to foundations either. You've worked with several foundations before.
Yes, for sure. I've been in community work for the past 10 to almost 15 years, from basketball to youth program to disaster relief to Christmas projects. So I really love the work that I'm doing, and yeah, it's just the next chapter in my life.
All right. How are you balancing everything and with everything else that you're doing?
Well, this is priority. This is number one.
Oh, okay.
This is number one. Again, the goal is yeah, we have big goals, and of course we have to start small. But with a good team, with the right mindset, the right heart, I know we can achieve great things.
All right, so let's talk about the mindset of this foundation. Your first and foremost, basically, what are you actually planning on doing as your first project, so to speak?
Yeah. So actually, this year we're gonna start out and do a volunteer project for SSM Youth. So that's our first public
Okay,
project,
right. Okay.
which is a fun day with foster kids in a system. So we're doing Kimsha Beach, fun day, kayaking, just games, stuff like that. And then of course one of our big projects that we have is a youth program.
Okay.
So just giving youth opportunities for educational trainings, mentorship, life skill workshops, just just getting the tools that they need to succeed in life.
So when you talk about youth programs and what else have you, it's basically that you're limiting yourself to this particular group.
Yeah, we have four key areas, four key pillars.
Pillars.
Yeah.
Okay, let's
Yeah,
talk
so the
about
first,
that.
So the first is youth and family development, which is called our Elevate program.
Elevate program.
Elevate, yes.
Okay.
But again, we're playing on the word of rising up.
Yeah.
So, youth and family, and then we have holistic habilitation, which of course, well, reach, which of course Kevin can touch on, and then we have our Christmas projects, which is helping. Yes, Season of Light, which is Christmas projects and helping families in need during the holiday season, as well as, of course, gifts. And then, Ready, which is, of course, disaster relief. So that's about being ready to respond in disasters and being able to bring awareness to the community.
Right.
So those are the four key pillars, then, I would say.
Okay, so Ready actually, you should be actually after the SXM volunteer working with SXM Dude, because that's coming up. That's your next project that you're actually basically focusing on right now.
Yeah.
Now, Kevin, we're gonna ask you about the holistic part of this. So tell us a little bit about that.
Right, so that's we like acronyms. So that project is called Rise Reach. Reach is also an acronym, and basically it's a holistic rehabilitation program. So when we say rehabilitation, we're not just talking about drug rehabilitation. We like to think of it more as like a life rehabilitation. So we're just looking at persons that are facing disadvantages, whether they may be temporarily homeless or they may be in a financial crisis, and we're looking for ways how we can maybe provide them with educational opportunities, connect them with job opportunities, workshops to build up their soft skills, whether it's being able to interview well, being able to budget well, emotional intelligence, just helping them to be an overall better, well-rounded person so that they can maximize their contribution to the community and, improve their quality of life.
How do you intend to do this? Because we have a growing number of homeless people on the island.
Well, the intention is to partner. By no means is four well-meaning young persons going to solve St. Martin's ails, but we hope to partner with other organizations on St. Martin to bring people together, to provide these services, apply for various grants, various sponsorships, and through the program develop a system where we can find ways to assist. We may not be able to help 100 persons, but we'll start with 10. We'll expand to 20, and we'll continue to build the program up, try to bring more partners on board and help as many as we can. And we hope that, if we start with a small pilot and persons see that these persons went from point A to point B in their life, and your community is a little safer and a little stronger as a result of that, more hands will come on deck and we can have a bigger impact.
The Mental Health Foundation, have you considered basically actually having a talk with the Mental Health Foundation also, where that is concerned?
Absolutely. Organizations like the Mental Health Foundation, like other psychologists and psychiatrists, I think that is going to be a very key part of, assisting these persons. We're also going to have to talk to educational institutions, various private sector companies that would want to come on board, because we really have to look at every aspect of this person's life. You can't just put out one fire and ignore the others.
Absolutely. This is actually a non-profit organization, so how do you intend to go about funding for the foundation?
Well, one of the things that, and Kevin mentioned it as well, is we can't do it alone.
Correct.
So it's going to take everyone. It's going to take the community. It's going to take us as an organization focusing on writing grants and just hitting the ground hard and just figuring it out along the way. Because one thing we've learned over the years is that there is no way you can get things done by sitting down. You have to get up and you have to keep trying, and if someone says no, you keep trying and you just keep pushing. And that's how you get things done. And even if you have this big idea, you can still execute it minimally sometimes with and still get it done, maybe not the way that you envisioned, but you still get it done at the end of the day. So it's about, I think, community holding hands together and getting it done, because we all have to live here and we all want a better St. Martin. So if we do, then we have to make those decisions and we have to make those contributions to organizations like this or other organizations and partner, because we can't do it by ourselves.
All right. This is not the first organization you've been part of. Also, this is not the first.
No, this is not the first organization. I've been in foundation work for years now, and also volunteering.
Okay.
It's something that I enjoy doing. I enjoy giving my time back, and I love my island. And by loving my island, I believe that giving back is a way that we can truly be, I would say, good citizens.
Right.
Instead of just living here and benefiting off of or enjoying carnival or different things, which is great. It's good for the island, but overall, we need to put things back. We need to make our impact, because when I leave this earth, I would like to be remembered for more than just having a 9 to 5. I would like to be remembered for making an impact within my community, because at the end of the day, yeah, as I said, we all have to live here, and we all want to see a better St. Maarten.
Right. We've touched on so many things, but still more. We're going to get to the ready part because as we're approaching the hurricane season starting June 1st. Now, one of the things I didn't hear you mention is environment.
Yeah.
And why is that? Because while you were talking about activities and everything else about the island, but loving the island plays a major role. Protecting the environment is one of the major things.
So we had a meeting a few weeks ago, and one of our partners mentioned that they're going to put us in contact with or someone from the Nature Foundation. So it's not something that we've done as yet, but it's something within the past programs that we've tried to always let the youth know the importance of your environment, taking care of your island. And it's not just, like I even saw for Carnival, how everyone was throwing the garbage all over the place. And again, as I say, we need to start within the schools.
Right.
Because I think a lot of the adults, they're already set in their ways, and they say they have love for St. Maarten, but really, do you? So at the end of the day, we need to get the young kids, we need to educate them on how important it is to take care of your environment. So I think if we get them on board, they will now start to influence or start to call out their parents or adults that they see littering. So it is a priority. It is something that we see as important. So again, as we say, it's just about collaboration. So talking to the right people and seeing what we can do together.
Yeah. Have you thought of any youth programs, seeing that the escalation of youth violence here, not just here but in the surrounding islands also? Have you thought about any particular programs basically for the youth?
Absolutely. So again, on the point of partnerships, some of our key partners include, as we mentioned, the foster kids. So the, what's it called?
JNIS.
Thank you. The Judicial Institutional Services. It's a tongue twister. We also have the Court of Guardianship, and so we under Miss Lolly's commercial center. So we very much target again the ones that are the most disadvantaged. And that's why it's also called the Youth and Family Program, because we realize that the youth have guardians. They have, people around them, even if it may be fractured or it may not be as robust as it should be. We try to, take it from a community approach and see how we can, help the whole family to thrive. And we definitely target the youth that are, experiencing the most challenges in their life. And so part of that, again, is, the workshops. It includes anger management. It includes conflict resolution. We're really looking at the holistic being, and trying to, bring all of their full potential to the surface.
Okay. Now, let's talk about ready, because we have to start getting ready for the hurricane season. So how is RISE preparing for that?
So one thing we focused on, again, there was a lot of work behind the scenes before we decided to launch. The idea came about last year that we would go ahead and do this, and along the way we started already reaching out to volunteers, people that we know who love doing community work, who are interested, and we've started to build a pool of volunteers who are ready to respond in midst of a disaster. We've had meetings in the background with it's ESF 7. So they're responsible in a hurricane for the shelters on the island. They're responsible for mass distribution and different things like that. So we've had those meetings and let them know, okay, this is what we can bring to the table. We have volunteers and we have individuals who are already trained in disaster relief management and shelter management along the way. So we are ready to respond in any way that they may need us, and we can be of assistance. One of the roles that they have, that we've agreed upon, is to be able to manage shelters in case of any shelters being open on St. Martin. So this is our main role that we have currently right now, and of course helping with mass distribution. So if there's any, like another Irma, of course.
God forbid, don't even call it.
We don't hope for that, but of course, in that event, that we'll have volunteers to help assist and distribute along the island. And of course, we're going to be focused on a campaign that will be focused on the hurricane season. So just an awareness campaign overall, just letting people know, okay, we are here. This is Rise, and we are ready basically for this upcoming hurricane season, because we may not always have a disaster, but it doesn't mean that you shouldn't be ready at the end of the day. So that's our focus, and yeah, June is right there.
Right, you got your work cut out for you.
Indeed.
Yeah. So how in I was about to ask you a question, but you answered that already. So yeah. So how many members are actually in this foundation, this organization?
So it's 4 of us.
Okay.
We're all co-founders. We hold different positions on the board, but we're equal co-founders of the organization. Only Priya Masir is missing from this interview, but she'll be in subsequent parts of our awareness campaign, so the community can get familiar with her as well. And so it's really the 4 of us. And as we said, we have our partners, we have dedicated volunteers, that we can count on. And as time progresses, of course, we do hope to grow the organization to have, more people on board.
How many are you currently, in addition to 4 that you mentioned? How many other members do you have? It's just 4 of you for now.
So you could say we have approximately 20 volunteers.
Really?
That,
wow.
like I said, dedicated volunteers that we can always count on for anything that we're doing.
Okay.
And that allows us to be effective, and just, highlighting that point that it's not something that we can do alone. If you want to think of us as just a hub, we're just bringing people together around an issue so that we can tackle it as a community.
Right. Now, you have a social platform already set up, and how can people find out more about the Rise Foundation?
Yes, we have our Facebook, which is Rise Foundation or Rise SXM, and on Instagram we're rise.xxm.
Okay.
So we're gonna start posting this week, so the interviews and different things like that, introducing ourselves, introducing the programs, the acronym of Rise. That's gonna happen within the next 2 weeks. So,
okay.
Yeah.
All right. Now, Kevin's been harassing me since last week to get on the program.
We appreciate you.
Kevin had to get on Lady Grace.
Kevin, hold up a minute. Give me a date. Let me check my date. Let me get out of this. Right? Yeah, you've been here before, but in another capacity as a member of.
That was JCI SXM Action.
Action,
that was
right.
when we had the COVID-19 food drive.
Exactly,
right. And I remember how supportive you were, in helping us with that initiative, and that's why when we were putting together this campaign, you were the most difficult person to get, but I was like, we have to get Lady Grace on board.
Yeah. Right. When you talk about donations, how do you all intend to go about donations? I mean, to get the, some of the work that you're basically going to be doing. How do you plan on doing that?
Yeah, like I said, it just foot on the pavement,
knocking on
doors, grants, getting the individuals involved. So if you want to sponsor $25 a month or $10 a month, everything helps to be able to reach our goals. So it's just knocking at every door and making sure that people understand what we're doing, the vision, and of course, just piece by piece. Again, funding is important, but volunteers are important as well. If it's for disaster relief, if it's for mentors for the youth, that's a key part of the youth program is mentors. So it's just getting people involved where they can, and then just amplifying the message.
Okay.
Yeah, like she said, I just want to add to that, donations, financial donations are obviously essential, but you can also do in kind. If you're a social worker, donate an hour of your time. If you're a counselor, commit to counseling one of our youth. Whatever it is that you do, whatever skill you may be able to bring, and you can give us your time and your expertise. That's we can't put a price on that.
Yeah, I believe there's also a Oranje Funds Foundation. Is it Oranje Funds? Go ahead. Sure.
Sam Working Funds, which is
Sam Working Funds, yeah.
Yes, that's definitely a key grant maker on the island, so definitely will be applying for grants for that.
Okay.
Definitely.
All right. So the first project, actually, like you said earlier, you're gearing up to SXM Doot, and that is in what department again? The seniors, I think you said.
No, it's for foster kids.
Foster kids. Foster kids.
And so we got about like 30 foster kids, and we have about 20 volunteers.
Okay.
It's gonna be a big.
You need more? Do you need more?
I mean, it's a public beach, so they go always pull up.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, we can. Sure.
But we don't feed them still.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's a big project, but it's still gonna be a nice mingling activity. Yeah.
It's not easy finding people, especially young people, to volunteer.
Most of the volunteers are actually young people.
Yeah.
Yeah, so maybe they have volunteer hours they need for school, but they're like 16 to 18, most of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But usually you see like the same faces every time. And that's the problem that we have here, because you want to be able to reach others out there that like, basically you're saying, I just want to be part of this crowd. Yeah. But how do you get them from being part of that crowd to be part of this crowd?
Well, again, for the youth program, one of the key areas is youth volunteering. So within the program, they have to volunteer. They can't just be like, I want my GED or I want to go NEPA, but I don't want nothing else. I'm just benefiting myself. No, we need to really instill that the mindset of actually giving back and that's something that is very key. So volunteering within the program. Just organizing your own volunteer project, so you're giving that independence. It's not like you're just forcing you to do something. Right. But at least you have your own ideas that you want to help in the community, and then we're giving the opportunity to do that and give you the support to make that project possible.
Your approach to educational institutions also, have you considered that? Actually, going into schools and talking to the youth, of course, because again, like I said, it's always a particular group of people that always come together and then, have these foundations, but you keep seeing the same faces popping up all the time. And then again, like I said, and I'm going to repeat it, that there's a particular group that you really have to target, that you want to target, that to actually change your mindset, because more and more we're seeing a lot of we're actually losing our young people. Let me put it that way. Into violent crime, and it's very, very sad that when I was growing up, we went to funerals of seniors, people who were old and died of old age, and now it is something that really, really hurts. Not I think not me personally, but society in general, the population in general might not come out and say, but it's very painful and hurtful, not just to the families, but as a society, to see that we're now attending funerals or seeing funerals of young people like yourselves.
Yeah. Now you touched on a very important point. Indeed, we outreach to the youth is extremely important, and I actually have to give credit to the schools, because several of them actually have volunteer programs built in. Back with SXM Action, that was the primary source of support. And so, just like how with our youth program, with the disadvantaged youth, we integrate volunteering so that they see the importance of, taking care of the environment, of giving back, of helping persons, like themselves that may be in even more difficult situations than they're in. The same with those that are in the public school system. They have, a volunteer program built in where their students have to do a certain amount of volunteer hours. And so that is also...
Really?
So
wow.
St. Dominic School has that, Academy has that, even AUC, the medical university, they have a certain requirement of how much volunteer hours they have to give as part of their curriculum. And so then that's an opportunity for us to then partner with the schools, with our projects, to give them that opportunity. And I think really what it comes down to is just keeping the youth positively engaged. You don't want them having too much idle time, not having anything productive to do. We extend grace to the parents because we know things are difficult on St. Martin. Many of them are, working more than they would like to. And so as a community, that's why it takes a village, to come together and help to keep their young ones engaged in positive and productive activities.
Yeah, because
And-
okay, go
yeah,
ahead,
sorry.
Shaya. It's okay.
But also like the importance of mentors and positive role models. So that
Absolutely.
is why
Yes.
also within the
Yeah.
program is not only giving you education and give you opportunity to volunteer, but also matching you with a volunteer mentor that's able to help guide you and just give you some different information than what you're used to and
Yeah.
just expose you to different things. So that's a key thing as well.
Yeah, yeah,
Just
yeah.
changing the mindset as you said.
Oh yeah, that is that. It's quite an uphill battle. If I may say that, you don't want to always be targeting or pinpoint. Well, you want to touch on the social issues that is affecting the country, the social issues that are affecting the country. But at the same time, you don't want to make it sound like it's doom and gloom. That there is still hope, and I really admire seeing young people, because
Yeah.
again, like I said, like myself growing up, I always wanted to be part of something. I wanted to be part of a YMCA. I wanted to be part of something
Yeah,
happening
that
over
was
there.
the
I want to
key
be there.
thing.
So,
Yeah.
to instill that also, I think it has to come from the parents also. So not just focusing on the youth, but it's in the household. It's
That's
where it
right,
all
yeah.
begins. And go ahead, Kevin.
Yeah, no, I'm so glad you're saying that, because that's something we've noticed, with the youth program. If you spend all this time investing into the youth's development, but then they go back to the same environment that led them off course in the first place, you're taking 3 steps forward and 2 steps back.
Yeah.
And so that's why we thought it very important to make it a youth and family program. So we would offer workshops, to the parents as well. We would have a mediator helping to, guide a healthy relationship between the guardian and the youth. We would have a social worker that would help to assist with, their circumstances and see how we can improve their living conditions that may be putting some stress on their productivity as individuals. And so the youth is being elevated, and the family as a whole is being elevated as well.
Absolutely, I'm glad you said that. I was listening to an interview on this radio station on Saturday. Had 2 young boxers who actually won gold for St.
I
Martin.
think I saw that picture,
And I was so impressed when I heard one of the boxers who won. He said, "My grandmother." He said his
Wow.
grandmother cooked for him to make sure that he stayed fit,
Oh,
and
that's
healthy.
precious.
And that's why
that
the
support,
fabric.
It's
so
It's in the family where you hear a young man saying that thanks to God, and of course spirituality is very important, and that's something I think we need to bring back in the household. Also
sure.
something that people don't like to talk about.
Right.
I always say I don't like to talk religion on my program, but more and more you see how important and how
These values, yeah,
how the
positive,
values
yeah.
of religion,
Yeah.
whatever your religion
Yeah.
is, I
It's
respect that.
similar,
But
yeah.
how the values of instilling that in your child or children, and from a young age, it plays such a role in
Shaping
the
them.
nurturing of a child or your children.
Yeah.
If they if they grow up and they refer to, okay, I don't want to go to church no more, or whatever it is, but at least somewhere in the back of their mind they'll remember, hey,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I'll go back to church. Or, in a situation, my mom and my grandmother teach me how to pray.
Right.
Something to, where that is concerned, it's so very important. So, again, that's another thing that I always tell a lot of these institutions and these foundations, try as much as possible that to have some kind of inspiration, spirituality to add to the foundation of your foundation.
Right.
Because
good.
because we're nothing without God,
Yeah.
if I may say that.
Yeah.
And because you get up every morning and you wonder
That's it.
why.
Yeah.
How did I wake up? Oh, I just get up to go. But it's somebody's waking you up every morning.
Correct.
And I believe we really need to start concentrating on ways to save our youth.
Yeah.
And
one of the things we always try to tell the youth in our program is that you were born with a purpose.
Amen.
You're not an accident.
Absolutely.
And that's a universal truth regardless of what you believe in. Regardless of your path of spirituality or religion, the one thing we can all agree is that we all need each other, and that you're all here for a purpose. There's something that you can do that nobody else can do.
Right.
And so it's really about understanding that you're a part of something bigger. It's not just about you, but it's about us as a collective. We take it for granted. We're sitting in this room. Everything in this room is the result of collaboration. these microphones were built by hundreds of people. These tables, this very building, everything around us is the result of humans working together.
Yeah.
And so it's just not taking it for granted that we are a very small part of a much bigger whole, and it's just about each of us doing our part.
Are you concerned about the takeover of AI in amongst basically when you look at life today? A lot of people, I myself, think it's like it makes work easier, but what kind of influence do you think that has on the world, and just not us, but the youth in particular, because this is an entirely different
world we live in.
yeah, it's something totally different now. It astonished you because yesterday I was watching I saw a reel on social media yesterday where a robot actually was crossing the road with a shopping bag, and the person who was recording it said, "Oh my gosh, this is the end of the world." When you see something like, does it really bother you when you see things like this?
I mean, I think the key word is balance.
Balance,
Because
right.
when we were growing up, we didn't have the internet the way that it is now. We didn't have smartphones. We had Blackberries.
Yeah.
And even
Yeah,
that was towards the end of our...
I had to go
our-
home to make a phone call.
Yeah, so even that was something that, it came with certain benefits. You're able to
Yeah.
connect, you go to the Netherlands to study, but you can still connect with your family. But at the same time, you don't want to become, addicted or,
Yeah.
feel like your image is based on the likes that you get. So even with
True.
AI,
Right,
it really
right.
comes down to that balance, because on one hand, it's a powerful tool. It can speed up your research time. You can get things done faster. You can be
Faster,
more
right.
productive. But at the same time, you don't want to become so dependent on the AI that you end up
elevate
losing
yourself.
your own skills, your own ability.
Yeah.
What happens when the current goes off? Can you
Yeah.
still write that report? So it's having that balance of, making it work for you and not against you.
Yeah, it has worked for a lot of people in many ways that actually, some people make a living from it right now too, which is a positive. But again, like I said, it's how you go about it. It's a very, it's a tool, and that
Balance,
it's a
yeah.
balance. You got to
Yeah.
find a balance in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and sometimes too, and not sometimes, but we see a lot of people actually diverting from using their skills that they were actually taught in school to reverting to AI to do the work for them now, and that is kind of like your brain actually your brain was actually made created to work for you, and when you get to that point, now, Josiah, you wanted to say something about it.
This is honestly a conversation that I have with Shaira. Could tell you every single day that I say that AI is making people's brains fall asleep.
Thank
Like
you.
lazy.
Thank
like
you.
They don't want to use their brain to even spell the word it.
Uh-huh.
They're going on ChatGTP to see, how do I spell it again? Because
Yeah.
their brain has fallen asleep. And as Kevin mentioned, it's about the balance. I have no issues with ChatGTP or AI in general, but it's about us as human beings understanding that when the lights go out, when you don't have any internet, how can you still be effective, or how can you still produce? At the end of the day, we have to be able to be self-reliant, because if you're not, then at the end of the day,
Yeah.
it's basically the end of the world. Because if human beings are no longer
Yeah.
learning
Yeah.
or adapting, then what are we doing?
Yeah.
So for me, it's getting serious.
And it can be dangerous also for your
Indeed.
mind, because when your brain actually doesn't when I say not function, but when
but
you're
you're
not
not using
using
it.
Correct.
your brain,
If you
eventually
don't use it, you lose it.
you're going to lose
Yes,
it. Huh?
correct.
Yeah.
There's even studies of early dementia in certain
There you
certain
go.
areas, because
Right, there
you're
you
not,
go.
you're not using your brain the way you're supposed to. So now it's like, okay, I'm waking up. Yeah, I'm telling you to breathe. I'm telling your heart to pump. And your lungs and everything. But besides that, everything you're asking AI or your phones. So again, we have to just find that balance
Right.
between too much or not too much.
Not
So,
too much,
yeah,
yeah,
so that's
the balance, and that right now it's we can talk about it. Some of us are like, we're tuned into that, but some are like, I ain't got no time for this. I could just
Yeah,
go and
figure out
ask
what-
ChatGPT,
Yeah.
AI.
Yeah.
I see that. One thing I always do, and like in school growing up, we had to learn to do hoofrekenen.
Yes,
That's
correct,
learn
correct.
do hoofrekenen.
They
Work
can't do
your brain,
hoofrekenen,
work
they
your
cannot
brain.
do hoofrekenen.
Don't go to no
Correct.
calculator.
Yeah.
And I still do that every time when I sit down and I see figures. My brain kicks in and I start to calculate with my brain.
Yeah.
And that is something that a lot of the young people I know seriously can do. I even at sometimes see it in supermarkets where
Okay.
grown people that that you give them money. And what throws them off if they tell you, for example, something is let's say $15, I give them a $10 without
Or guilt or something. And you
or
put guilt
even
in, that's it.
they go to the calculator and I'm like,
Yeah.
Jesus, I say I already know what the answer was.
Yeah.
That.
Correct.
Why
I tell you, they don't believe
Yeah.
nothing.
Yeah. And this is where we're going.
Right.
We're going. I think advancement is great,
Uh-huh.
but let us not
The basics,
advance
the
to
basics,
where we
yeah.
are slowly going back. So it's like you're advancing,
Right.
but you're crippling
area.
yourself along the way to where you're so you're so reliant on technology
Yeah.
for you to be great or for you to be smart.
Yeah.
Then you end up crippling yourself
Right.
at
Yeah.
the same time.
You know, I was about to say that. What you could trust some. What I notice sometimes is that if I get a bill, for example, for $25, I want $30 back, and if I get a bill for $50, let's say for $25 for that matter, and I want $30, and I just give you the 50 with a 5.
Yeah.
They go on the calculator.
They confused, like, what did you just do?
Yeah.
What sorcery is
Just
this?
before you start to calculate, I telling you this is
Just
what
be
the
touching back,
change.
yeah.
And this change, but they're still going on like I
Double
don't
check,
believe you.
yeah, they
And I
got
gotta
it.
do like
check
2 or
it.
3 times to be sure.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
that's why I say hoofrekenen was the best thing I think happened to a lot of us in school. Teachers used to just tell you, bereken het maar, and you sit down there, do the calculation, use your brain, and that's something that, again, like I said, is what worries me about AI too, But again, more for the younger generation than the generation of my time. So so let's get back to Rise, of course, as we get ready to rise on out here. So the foundation is currently up and running. So getting ready for SXM Doot, and then you're gonna get ready for the hurricane, and then I hope to have that's hurricane season.
Hurricane
Yes.
season.
Getting ready for no hurricane, for the
Just
season.
season.
Just
Not
a
a
season.
hurricane.
Not a hurricane.
That's it.
Okay. And for persons who would like to contact you, I think Shaira already mentioned your Facebook page
Yes.
and your IG page. Also, do you have a number, or you don't do the telephone thing? No. Look at Shaira looking at me like, give me the mic, give me the mic. You finish, go ahead.
Yeah, so
Are you going to do his
I
now?
would.
Yeah.
Oh, so the actual right
You see,
number.
that's fine.
So I'm just gonna pass the mic.
She's like, no, give me the phone. Give me
Yeah,
the
I
phone.
know, I know it.
Email address too.
Yeah. So the number is 584
584
7473.
7473.
Yeah, and that's
okay.
that's on WhatsApp as well. Of course, you can call. Our email is
Team.
team@risexxm.org.
That's TEAM. Team
EAM, yeah.
at
risexxm.org.
risesxm.org. Okay,
Yes.
all right. Okay, so persons can contact you. Is there any age group that you're actually targeting to form part of your foundation?
I mean, for volunteers, I would say maybe open
We're
15
open.
plus or something.
If 15 plus, you have to. Okay, starting at 15.
We're
Yeah.
open, but sometimes
Yeah,
parents
sometimes,
want to come with
yeah.
their kids. So.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
It's just on a,
Yeah.
yes, just on a
okay.
WhatsApp or call, and we'll go from there.
All right.
So,
Okay. Hey, I want to thank you all for coming in this morning.
Thank
Your
you so
closing remarks. Go ahead, Go ahead, Shara. Ladies first.
Go ahead.
Ladies
ladies
first.
first, and actually introduce ourselves. I'm the president of the foundation.
Thank you. Okay.
This is Kevin, the secretary, and of course Josiah is the vice president. So that was just FYI. And Priya is the treasurer.
Yeah.
So that's just FYI. But
Okay.
we're just looking forward to the new chapter. Of course, looking for the community support. So they just hold hands and just help our youth, help our families, help the community rise above challenges, adversity, and just become better as St. Maarten, better people, and then of course a better St. Maarten.
You look like your grandmother.
Yeah, they say so now.
Yeah. Your father tell you that, right?
Yes, and my aunt as well.
Yeah.
Similar faces.
Yeah, you look like her. Yeah. Beautiful woman.
Yes. Oma.
Okay, Auntie Pearl.
Yes,
yeah.
Oma.
Her soul. Rest in peace.
Yes.
Josiah.
Yes.
Just past Kevin. Kevin, go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, final words.
Yeah, final words. Yeah.
Let's do this together. For anyone that's listening, whether it's money, whether it's your time, to mentor, to counsel, if you're a nurse, if you're a construction worker, it doesn't matter what you do, there's something you can do to help uplift your community. So reach out and let's just do it together.
All right. And then we go to Josiah.
Well, I just like to keep it simple and say it takes all of us. We can't do it alone, and we have a lot of goals and things that we would like to accomplish under Rise, but we can't do it without the community. So yeah, if you are interested, you can contact us. We have our Facebook, our Instagram, and we give our phone number.
All right.
So yeah, just reach out and let's help the island.
Make it
and
happen.
rise together.
That's 584-7473. That's 584-7473.
That's our picture.
Radio listeners, that's
Team
good.
at risesxm.org.
Team at risesxm.org. Hey guys, and of course, the president, of course, that's Shira Bowers.
Madam President.
Madam President. Yeah, Josiah and Kevin James, I want to thank you all for coming in. I wish you much success with this new foundation. And for persons, actually parents who are listening, would be interested in having their children join, if they're 15 years or older, you can call 584-7473 or send an email to team at rise. That's team, TEAM at rise, RISESXM.org. So yeah, again, congratulations guys, and looking forward to seeing you back here soon again.
Yes,
Okay, Kevin,
yes.
I promise you I ain't gonna put you off like
Thank
that.
you so much, Lady Grace. We appreciate you.